Good day, ladies and gentlemen. We're streaming live on YouTube. We're streaming live on Twitch, Facebook groups. We're all over the place right now. Another episode again of the audio of this will be uploaded to my podcast. I don't know how long this is going to be, but let's talk about a recent phenomenon in our society, right? And I'll say recent, probably the last 20, 30 years. And probably the last 5 or 10, it's been a lot more apparent to people because of social media. And it's around this whole thing of being offended. Okay. Now, I have a lot to say about this. And I believe everybody deals with this to a particular extent, depending on who you were raised by, if you had mentors or not, how well schooled you were, especially if you were a man growing up, right? But let me put a few things on the table first, right? The whole purpose of this discussion today, I'm not talking about other people. Okay. This is you with you, your process, you, the individual, what I'm focusing on today. Because if somebody out there is being hateful and doing all that, I'm not excusing. I'm not saying their behavior is right or wrong. What I'm discussing today is you and your process. And I want to make that very, very clear to you. Because we cannot control what other people say, how they think, and what they do. We know this. Believe me. Out of a lot of people that you know, if I could control, because I deal with so many people every day, and it makes me sad at this point to see how people destroy themselves. It really does. And I actually give a shit. As a teacher, as a coach, as a real estate agent, as a team leader, as a professional, I care a lot. Sometimes I think too much. And if I hadn't developed as much as I have up here, I literally think I would have driven myself crazy or been very, very sad all the time because of it. But again, I'm talking about you today, the individual, not everybody else. So as I'm discussing this topic today, understand the context and where it's coming from. Okay, let's start. Here's why being offended is one of the worst personality traits. And I say that because, number one, it can be changed, right? If you're a snowflake, if a lot of things piss you off, if you don't like, well, you shouldn't talk to me that way, and a lot of things offend you, understand that that's a weakness. That's a glaring weakness. That's not to say that we can't dislike things, but for it to make you that mad where you make demands and you get pissed off and emotional, that's a weakness. That's 100% a weakness. Because you know what I do when people are potentially being disrespectful to me, all the other stuff that would have fallen into this category, I walk out, I leave. I don't sit there and talk shit and going back and forth. It's just, why do you guys think over the years, all the haters and trolls I've had, the vast majority of them have disappeared? Because they can't get anywhere with me. I don't engage with them and get in this back and forth and you're wrong and this and that. I don't do that. That's a waste of your time. That's a waste of your time. I will address a legitimate criticism, but up until now, I haven't gotten anything. It's, I don't like your hair. I don't like your earrings and all the other nonsense that people say that's opinion-based. Cool. I don't care. You can have your likes and dislikes. That's fine. No problem. But I'm not offended. And it doesn't affect anything that I do. And after that moment, it's done. Okay? So understand, number one is that you can change that. If everything pisses you off and offends you, let's peel back the layers of that for a second. Okay? Because you have to first acknowledge that it's a weakness. If you don't, you'll never change it. You'll never change it. Right? You'll never change it. I have to acknowledge it. Number two, understand that now by being offended, okay, let's say somebody says something about, I don't know, my hair. Cut your long hair. It's not professional. All the bullshit they say, right? Let them say that. By me being offended, I am now, number one, forced to defend my position, which means I have to engage with an idiot most of the time, which doesn't make any sense. But number two, you acknowledge and validate what they said by being offended, just so you know. That's the second one. Number three, if it offends you that bad and hits you at an emotional level, it's probably poking at a hidden beast, aka an insecurity dormant within you. I'll say that again. If it's offending you at that level, it's more than likely poking at or around some sort of insecurity that you still haven't dealt with. So not only are you validating and acknowledging them and giving them shine and attention for no reason, and then making it something bigger than it is, you're now basically uncovering potentially or attempting to hide and run away from an insecurity that you have. So the first one is a big mistake, because why engage with it? You give it validity, right? Which is the first mistake, which is why I don't answer to dumb people doing fucking videos about me and dumb shit. Like, I never respond to it because it's based in opinion and nonsense. It really is. So why even address it? Right? It's like if somebody ran up to me on the street, you murdered somebody. It's like, bro, what the fuck are you talking? I wouldn't even acknowledge that. Why would I sit? No, I didn't. Why would I sit there and do that? It's stupid. And the second one is, okay, maybe you do have an insecurity. That's an indication that you need to work on yourself. You see? That's why I love what I do and what I teach, because it forces people to face their insecurities. So you see, when I force you to do that and I help you grow, you, without even directly addressing this, you handle this because you get rid of your insecurities. Bravo. But if you refuse, and many people refuse to be my student because it's too intense for them, that's fine. You on your own and through your own volition and your own efforts have to handle your insecurity and make it number one priority in your life. Where you are insecure, that will be your downfall. That's what your enemy will use against you, your competition will use against you, and that will be the thorn in your side that will bleed you out until you pass away. And it will be what you regret on your deathbed, and it will be what stops you from going after life the way people like me do. We move faster and more aggressively than you because we don't carry around the bullshit that you carry around. I don't have all that extra baggage, bro. I got rid of it, and I continue to get rid of it. And I face it by first acknowledging it and then addressing it. And one of the best ways to handle your insecurities is to socialize with other human beings. Believe it or not. If you're a man, go talk to women. Go out during the day and at night and talk to women and get rejected dozens and dozens and dozens of times until that shit does nothing to you anymore. Why do you think for a lot of salespeople, I tell them to go out there and make phone calls and go door to door and talk to people and get rejected? Because one of the byproducts of that is this. You handle your insecurities and you become a fucking monster. You build thick skin, you build resilience, you build emotional fortitude and intelligence, and you start to realize and see the patterns behind all of this nonsense that holds back the majority of the population. Even people that I know that are successful still deal with this shit. But many people will not achieve success financially, entrepreneurially, socially because of this. Think of people that you know that are offended by everything. Okay? Take a moment and think about it to further hammer in this first point that I'm giving you. I don't know anybody who's offended by everything, who's fulfilled, happy, massively successful, and lives a life that other people would envy or want to live. The people that I know that are offended by everything live in absolute misery because everything and everyone is oppressing them and stopping them, and this is bullshit, and bad things happen to them, and it's this perpetual cycle of just horrifying circumstances, accidents, this and that, people sick, I don't feel good, life sucks, I don't make any money. It's like, whoa, dude. Whoa. Who wants to live like that? So just by sheer observation, you would say, okay, that state of existence is not ideal to maximize your potential as a human being, to be fulfilled, to be successful, to be a great communicator, socially savvy, great salesperson, own a business, be financially free, and all these things that people supposedly want and chase, right? Here's another one. When you're offended by everything, you do not allow yourself to even get an honest assessment of where you're at or allow other people, even that you want to help you. You will be guarded, you will be shut off, and even people asking questions around your situation will piss you off. How do I know this? From observation and from experience. Think about that person that you know that's hard-headed in a particular category or in many categories. Or it's like you try to help them, but It just goes nowhere, right? They're offended that you're even bringing it up. There may be other things too, but they're for sure offended. They're for sure offended. And being offended puts you in an emotional state that just blocks everything. You deny reality. You will not assess your situation. You won't take constructive criticism, even from a coach potentially that you even paid for, believe it or not. It's nuts, right? And now, again, let's take step 2. Being offended now, you now are making yourself more important than other people because now you're requiring other individuals, peoples, and organizations to change what they do to accommodate your feelings. And then that person will call the other people selfish, arrogant, narcissist, all the buzz terms. What? No, that's you. I have to change everything because it offends you? No, sorry. I'm not going to change my existence because you think your existence is more important. Sir, ma'am, sorry, not going to happen. Me, I'm not going to do it. You guys might do it. That's fine. But I'm the opposite of politically correct. And that shit has just been destroying our society. And the fact that people even deal with that and accept that is just lunacy. It's absolute lunacy. We can't even tell the truth anymore. The truth is hurtful. No, the truth is the truth, dude. What's hurt is your fragile ego, pride, and feelings. Accept it. Accept it. Accept the fact that you want everything and everyone around you to change because you won't change. That's weak. And that's you asserting yourself as being more important than others. I mean, I can go on and on, guys. And for the individual, right? And again, if you're deep in this, it's going to take a lot. You're going to have to put aside your pride, your ego, right? Maybe apologize to people. Maybe you're going to catch some heat because of how you acted before. And that's okay, because you have to make it through that storm to live a better day. You do. And I think to a degree, everybody's dealt with this. I have, not too deeply, but I have had my moments and places in life where I am offended or I'm trying to defend something or I'm insecure. So I've been through it, dude. And I understand. And it was tough. It was tough to put my own fucking ego to the side and say, you know what? Okay, I need help. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm sorry. I lashed out at you. I was an asshole. Like, it's tough to do that sometimes, but you need to do it. You need to do it. And that's missing just severely. I mean, now people get proven wrong and then they double down. And they're like, no, agree to disagree. Fuck the agree to disagree. That's the stupidest thing people say. The truth is the truth. There's no agree to disagree. Throw that shit out the window, especially with this subject matter. God, it's unbelievable, man. Oh, well, you're too aggressive. Says who? Says who? You see, so I, from my position, am willing to challenge all these, well, you're offended and this and that, like, but very few people do. Can you imagine if I said 2 + 2 = 4 and someone's like, well, agree to disagree? What? And then we'll get in this whole, well, okay, well, it's my truth, and we'll accept that. And I'm sitting there looking around like, am I the only one here? And what I find is in many of these cases, I'm the one that voices it, but there's a silent majority that agree with me. They just won't raise their hand or say anything. And this is where I'm stepping in, especially with this, for the sake of other people, for the sake of doing what's right. You need to start voicing what's correct in these situations and not let just people like me step up and say, yeah. Because many of you will agree with me and then DM me and send me secret notes. That's fine, but you need to announce it too and step into this 100%. When you do that and everybody does it, then the culture shifts. Until then, we're going to be dealing with this stuff and we're going to be offended. You know what this has caused? This is what's caused kids now to get participation trophies, where we'll do an event and instead of awarding the first and second and third place, as it's always been tradition, now everybody gets a trophy. So basically we're like, you know what? First, second, and third place, go fuck yourself. You're not special. We just give everybody a trophy. You just belittled number 1, number 2, and number 3's effort, all the hard work they've done, and you've belittled their performance and disrespected them because of the feelings of other kids. We need to understand, and you need to learn that as a kid that, hey, I didn't work hard enough, or there's a prize for first place. Like, that's life, dude. And then we wonder why people are so weak and pathetic now and won't do any work and are unmotivated, unfulfilled, and depressed and mentally unstable. I mean, it's crazy. When I look at the statistics, I'm like, wow, dude. But then when you start looking at what's going on and things like this phenomenon of being offended, you start to piece the puzzle together. And now it's not a surprise anymore. You see clearly in front of you what is going on. And then that same individual who's offended will now come to me and say, oh, help me be successful. It's like, bro, no, we need to take 30 steps back and transform you first before we even step into business and some of these things, because you will just be destroyed. What are you going to do when the first person that you call tells you to go fuck yourself? Were you going to get offended? Are you going to complain about it? Are you just going to call it quits and pack up your stuff and leave? Because if you thought I was harsh, wait till you face the real world. Then you're going to get gobbled up, chewed up, spit out 20 times before you can even say hello. And what I'm saying, y'all, is not harsh. It's just truth. Anybody knows who's here listening to this, the recording live. If you've done anything where you've had to put yourself out there at any capacity, even when you were a kid, going door to door and selling candy, starting up a business, putting yourself out on social media, it's simple, but it's not easy. You have to deal with self-doubt, criticism, the struggles of building it. It's not easy, dude. And when we create this world where everything offends everybody and it's so soft and mushy, what are they going to do, individuals, when they step out into the real world? This is why people like me are considered so crazy, even though we're not. We're the few little voices of truth in a world full of garbage and fucking, a bunch of nonsense and everyone that's around the bush and walking on eggshells, that when you hear the truth or you hear unfiltered speech, all of a sudden it's offensive or too harsh. No, it's not. It's not. You're soft. You're soft. And I've been saying that more to people. I'm like, dude, I'm just going to start calling you Charmin Ultra because you're soft. You have Charmin, people who are soft, and the super soft people, I call them Charmin Ultra. I'm going to start creating shirts and just giving them to people and say, here, wear this. And maybe that'll help snap them out of it, like a pattern interrupt, because they're used to people coddling them. I'm not going to coddle you, dude, especially if you become my student. I'm going to force you to grow. I'm going to make you so uncomfortable, you're going to be like, oh, shit. But see, this is the key. This is what people need, especially people that get offended. Gone are the days of, well, we need to be civil with them. No. Being civil with them doesn't work, especially if that same person is looking at you and saying, I want to change and I need to change. Then being soft and accommodating to them is not going to work. It's not. Now, am I inciting violence? No, not at all. But your approach is what I'm saying is going to have to change, because you being nice to them, in quotes, nice. And again, my definition of nice is different than other people's. I'm not nice to people. I'm polite. I'm cordial. I'm not nice, though. I don't just give out niceness and all this other shit that people think you should, because it doesn't do anybody anything. If I come up to you and I don't know you and I'm extra nice, your immediate thought is, this person wants something from me. Why? I understand the unspoken language. That's why. I don't care what people say. The results speak for themselves. It's the same thing with this. People being offended in excess and everything is just an indication that they're weak and they're requiring everything to change around them, everything and everyone except themselves. And that's why they keep being unfulfilled, unhappy, and they can't get anywhere. So it is a wake-up call for them to begin to change from the inside. Accept where they're at. Accept that they may have wrong beliefs and values. Accept that their identity has to change, and they have to start doing the things to create the change. And it starts now. It starts now. Because what's going to happen when the scales tip? And now we don't accommodate everybody anymore. And the people who are offended suddenly find themselves in a position where everywhere they look and everything they listen to offends them. What are they going to do? Because if they don't change, That's a scary thought. That's a very scary thought. And let's morph this before we finish. Let's morph this and let's parallel this. Okay, somebody was offended, right? They become an entrepreneur or a realtor or something like that. Dude, you've already lost before the game has begun. How are you going to be coachable? No, the person who's offended will say, I don't need a coach. I can figure it out on my own. For sure. For sure. Because every coach they look at or every person to help them, all they're going to do is be hypercritical of them. Well, he's too loud. I don't like the way he looks. Oh, he was mean to me. And then it's like, dude, give me a fucking break. You know why? Somebody who's evolved, like me, I can watch somebody and learn from somebody that I don't like because I can put that bullshit to the side and say they have a skill that I want to acquire and I'll study them. Doesn't mean I'm going to go have beers with them. Doesn't mean I like them as a friend. Doesn't mean I even respect them. I might respect their professionalism in that category. I could totally disagree with them and everything else. But if they have a skill that I'm going to acquire, I would have no problem spending money, learning the skill, and then going back home. But very few people will do that. That's an evolved human being that can do that, by the way. That's a very evolved human being because I don't know very many people who would do that. And they would even argue with me that I'm an idiot for doing it. Why? Well, I don't like him. What are you, 3 fucking years old? I mean, it's insanity. It's insanity. How about in social circles? I don't know anybody who's offended by everything that has a ton of friends and great relationships and deep bonds and deep, connections with people. I don't. Everybody stays away from them because you can't even be yourself around them because everything offends them. And they have something stupid or mean to say or angry to say or negative to say about everything. So they'll be alone. Or they'll have friends, but they're not even really their friends. Those people talk shit about them behind their back. You starting to get what I'm saying here and pick up on what I'm giving you? So anywhere you insert this trait, right? I said personality trait, but it can be anything, right? It doesn't fit. It doesn't lead to ideal circumstances and ideal results. So I urge you, whether you're a little bit offended all the time or a lot or anywhere in between, you start to address this thing because you keep pointing the finger away from you when you need to point it at yourself and handle YOU. Remember what I said in the beginning? I'm not justifying people's behaviors. You could have people saying and doing hateful shit to you. It doesn't mean that it has to affect you the way that it does. That is 100% your responsibility. Okay? BrianCasella.com if you guys need anything. That's it for today's episode. Peace.